Let's get it going. We are now live. Hope everybody's had a great week. It is Friday already. Hope everybody is doing good, having a great Friday. We're getting right into the material here today. I'm gonna give everybody like 30 seconds to get into this, then we're getting into it. It is Friday, May the 22nd, 2020. There's a lot going on. Hope y'all staying focused, not even busy, but just staying focused on whatever you're focused on, whatever you're doing, whether that's relaxing, working, figuring out what you're gonna work on. As y'all coming in, what's good? Tell me your name and location in the comment section. I will shout you out. This is Dre all day, checking in from beautiful campus of Work on Your Game University. As you see, it's beautiful out here, right? We got palm trees on the roof out here. That's how beautiful it is. So as y'all coming in, I appreciate you. Haitian Addy, what's good? And what we're gonna do right now we're gonna talk about how to take your mental game to the next level. You like the basketball stuff, now we're gonna talk about the mental game. Jay from Houston, you the first one to give it your name and location so you get the shout out. So as y'all coming in, tell me name and location. We're getting started in 20 seconds. I'm gonna introduce myself and I'm getting right into the topic. We ain't gonna take too much time waiting on the intros. We're gonna get right into the material because time is of the essence. We know to be early is to be on time is to be late, and to be late, forget about it. You might as well be forgotten. You might as well not even show up because you will be forgotten. Facebook, as y'all checking in, tell me name and location, hit that share button. Share this with somebody on your timeline on Facebook. Javier from Harlem, New York. Shout out to Harlem. Shout out to the Dipset. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Former 9-year professional basketball player, author of 26, yes, count them, 26 books. I've done 4 TED Talks. I'm a coach, consultant, keynote speaker, trainer, producer, publisher, content creator. I do a whole lot of things. CEO, owner of Work on Your Game Incorporated. I have published over 15,000 pieces of content that you can consume for free right now. That's 15,000, 7,000 YouTube videos, 7,000 articles, over 1,500 podcast episodes, and I got a whole lot more of all of those coming as long as I'm allowed to do it. And this all goes under the umbrella of this whole philosophy that I created that is called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the pro athlete mindset that you need to be good in sports, to be in the top 1% in sports, not just good, but in the top 1% in sports. And how you take that same mentality and you can apply that to sports, you can apply it to business, and you can apply it to your everyday life. I wrote a whole book about it. This is the book right here. It's called Work on Your Game. Use a pro athlete mindset to dominate your game in business, sports, and life. It's a hardcover book. I'll tell you how you can obtain this book later on. But what we're going to talk about here today is stepping up your expertise game. So any of you who wants to get into the position of, you want to get into the industry of thought leadership, where you know a subject so well that people come look you up as the person on that topic. So if you want to be you want to be well-known on motivation. You want to be well-known on basketball. You want to be well-known on what's the next update that Apple's going to put out, and should you buy the new phone or keep the old phone? Which one is worth it? What's the technical specifications of the new Apple computer, or what kind of spotlight should you use if you're trying to make vlogging videos, or you're trying to make selfie videos? What kind of camera light should you put on your phone to make it work? Or what kind of microphone should you use if you want to be a podcaster? Any subject that you want to be an expert on. You want to build buildings, you want to tell people about being vegan, or whether they should choose the paleo lifestyle diet. Whatever you want to be an expert on, understand something. If you cannot teach it, you do not know it. You cannot become an expert on something unless you can really teach it to somebody else, right? Why would anybody call you an expert? You can't teach something. Just because you consumed a whole lot of information and you can spit it out doesn't mean you're actually teaching. There's a difference between just spitting out information and teaching. I think anyone here who's gone to school can attest to this. I remember when I was in school, I would have classmates who would complain about the teacher. They would say, well, yeah, I got such and such from math class or history or science. And they would say, well, she or he, talking about the teacher, like, they don't teach. All they do is just go over what's in the book and they be spitting out information, but they don't really teach. I'm not learning it. I'm not understanding anything. And I don't know if they were telling the truth or not because I wasn't in the classroom, but I heard a lot of students complain about that. I'm bringing it up because maybe some of you or maybe your classmates had the same complaint when you were, or maybe if you still are in school. The whole point is, when you are giving information to an audience, it's not just about you talking and, as Stephen A. Smith would say, bloviating on a topic. It's not just about just talking and talking and talking on a topic. You got to make sure people understand what you're talking about and that they get something tangible to take away from it. They got to actually do something with the information. So this is why when I write books or I do a live or I do a podcast or make a video or anything like that, the whole point is not just for me to just be talking and talking, because listen, if I want to talk, I can go talk somewhere and make people pay me to talk. I'm putting it out here right here because I'm trying to teach you something. I want you to take something from this and actually do something different or think differently or just have some type of tangible change occur in some area of your life. That's the reason that I'm doing it, not just for me to be talking and you're not listening just to be listening. You're not, as we say, you're not doing it for your health. So the topic again is if you cannot teach it, you do not truly know it. So if you think you're an expert on the subject, you think you really know a subject, then go teach it to somebody. If you have not taught it yet, then you don't know it as well as you think you do. And if you cannot teach it, then you absolutely don't know it as well as you think you do. But if you can teach it, that means you truly know it. Okay, so to consume information just means that you consume the information. I mean, I took a whole lot of classes when I was in school. You know, y'all know how elementary, middle school, high school, they make you take all these different types of classes and you don't retain any of the information. So I took those classes. I had the information. I passed. I got a high school diploma. I got a college degree. So that means I must know some things, right? Wrong. It does not mean you know a damn thing just because you graduated. Graduating does not mean you know anything. You have proven nothing except that you can memorize the information for long enough to pass the test. That's the only thing you prove. That's not saying that that's all you did. That's the only thing that you prove if you have a degree or a diploma. That just means you retain enough information for a long enough time just to pass the test and graduate. That's it. It doesn't prove you know anything. You only know stuff when you start teaching it to other people and they are getting results from what you teach. So before I step on my points, let's get right into it. Topic again, if you can't teach it, you don't know. Number one, what is an expert? You want to be an expert in something, or somebody calls themselves an expert, or somebody asks you, what's an expert? Here's the definition. Person who can take a complex idea that they know very well and break that idea down into bite-sized pieces that someone else who knows absolutely nothing can learn from. Say that definition one more time. What is an expert? It's a person who knows the subject really well. It can be a very complex subject. Whatever the subject is, they know the subject well enough that you could put them in front of a person who knows absolutely nothing, or people, a group of people, or one person who knows absolutely nothing, and the expert can break down that subject into bite-sized pieces that the person who knows zero can learn and now understand. That is what makes somebody an expert. If you can't teach a person who knows nothing, you are not an expert. Because, see, some people can only teach a subject when they're talking to somebody who already knows things, who already has some idea of what's going on. Some people can only teach when they're talking to someone who's close to their level, and they can give them a little bit, like that little extra bit that takes them from 85% to 90%. But what about the person who's at 0%? See, if you put me to teach on the subject of, let's say, overseas basketball. I got a book right here about overseas basketball. I can teach a person who knows nothing. They never even heard of overseas basketball, don't even know it exists. I can teach them what they need to know so that they understand how it works, why it works, and what somebody would do to be involved. I can do that. I'm an expert on the subject. Why? Because I've been doing this and I've been teaching it. If someone wanted to learn discipline, this book right here is about discipline. I'll tell you about these later on. But I can teach somebody who knows nothing about discipline. They only heard the word, but they don't know anything, what it means, what it does, why they would want it, how to use it, how to implement it, how to start having it, why they would want to start being disciplined. I could teach that to somebody who knows absolutely nothing. That makes me an expert. On this whole philosophy of work on your game that I created out of nothing, I can teach somebody this whole philosophy from 0 to 100. I actually wrote a book about it. I'll teach you the whole philosophy right here in this book, so I don't even have to talk to you. All you gotta do is get the book, and the book will do all the talking for me. That is what an expert is. Being able to take a subject that you know so well that a person who knows zero can learn and understand it just because of your ability. Now understand something. If you cannot do this, you are not an expert. If you cannot teach a subject, you are not an expert. Even if you did it, if you can't teach it, you're not an expert. See, there are some people out here who can play basketball really well. But if you ask them to teach somebody else how to play basketball, they couldn't really do it. Because teaching something and doing something are two completely different skills. They are independent abilities. And anybody got a question, I'll address it at the end. They're in teaching and doing, again, I'm going to say it again, they are independent abilities. So somebody could go to school and get really good grades and be like the valedictorian or whatever they call it when you got the best grades. I don't know because I didn't have the best grades. Whatever they call that. All right, somebody can go to school and get great grades. Doesn't mean they can tutor somebody else how to get good grades. Doesn't mean they can teach somebody else how to do it. Somebody could become a professional football player. Doesn't mean they can teach somebody else how to be a professional football player. So being able to teach someone else and help them get a result is what makes you an expert on a subject. Now, if you did it and you were great, then we'll just say that. You did it and you're great and we got to recognize your accomplishments. But if you're not great at teaching, then it's going to be really hard for you to get that designation as expert. And if you're going to be an expert, that means you probably can trade on your knowledge. You can trade on your intellectual property. You can trade your knowledge and information to other people in exchange for money. As a speaker, a coach, a consultant, an author, a webinar host, or whatever it is, entrepreneur, what do they call it? Infopreneur. Person who has information, they sell it as they sell information as a product. You have to get to the expert level to be able to do this. If you can't do that, you're not an expert. My elite mastermind was good, my man. Point number 2, today's topic is if you cannot teach it, you do not know it. Point number 2, you cannot know something until you've actually done it. Now understand, knowing something until you've actually done it means doing the thing that you're going to teach. So for example, there are people out there who are great basketball trainers, but they were not great basketball players. So can they be experts at training? Yes, because what they do is not play basketball. What they do is train basketball. So understand the difference. You don't have to be a great player to be a great trainer. And you don't have to be a great trainer to be a great player. Because there are some players out there who are excellent players, but you make them a coach or a trainer and they be terrible because they don't know how to teach it to another person. They only know how to do it for themselves. And there are people who can train really well. They can train any player in the world and make them better, but you put them on the court and tell them to play, the trainer, and the trainer's going to be trash. And you're like, damn, how does this person become a great trainer? They can't even play. Because you do not need to be able to do both. There are some people who can do both. There are some rare exceptions of people who can do both. And there are some people who are great at one or the other. But understand you don't have to be able to do both. There are some, I'm trying to think of, no, I won't even do that. Doesn't even matter. The whole point is this. You don't know something until you've actually done it. So if you want to train people how to be a speaker, you got to know how to train people to do that. Maybe you're good at speaking, maybe not. But you can have both skills, but you don't have to. You have to be out there doing it, though. You don't know it until you've done it. So if somebody tells you that they know a certain subject, ask them what their experience is in that area. They should be able to answer. Actually, they better be able to answer. Actually, it's required that they be able to answer. If someone says they know a subject, but they have no experience actually doing it, how do they know it? How can you know it? Understand that watching something on video or taking a course or going to a seminar or attending a conference or reading a book, none of those things means that you know something. Hanging around somebody who knows something does not mean you know it. If your husband or your wife does something really well and they know it, that doesn't mean you know it. If you go to all the games, doesn't mean that you know it. It means that you went to all the games. It means you watched it. If you read a book about it, does not mean you know it. It means you read a book about it. If you took a course on it, doesn't mean you know it. It means you took a course on it. Just because you consumed information on a subject does not mean you know the subject. You only know a subject when you have actually 10 toes deep, you've moved your feet and actually done something in that area to create an outcome. That's when you know something. When you have actually physically done it yourself, that's when you know it at this level. If you want to know it at this level, what we're talking about here today, the expert level, knowing stuff is people who've done things, okay? Somebody who works as a garbage man, they work for waste management, or they know waste management. They're right here. They know it because they did it. Now, if you want to be an expert at waste management, meaning you teach other people, you got to get to this level, meaning you're teaching people. Can't be an expert until you start teaching other people how to do a thing. So doing it well, and people will be asking you to teach it to them. So this is how they work together. So this is how somebody who does something really well can become a practitioner. They can become a teacher of that subject simply because where's the first place usually we look when we're looking to, if you were looking to get in great shape and you didn't know any trainers, you probably go look for somebody who had nice muscles or a six-pack abs or a nice body or whatever it is you're trying to get. You look for somebody who looks like they have what you want, and you would ask them, hey, how do you do it? Can you teach me? Can you train me? Do you offer training? You would ask them simply because they're available and they're already doing the thing. I never, ever promoted or marketed myself as a basketball trainer or a basketball coach. But I would still have hundreds, if not thousands of players come to me asking me to train them or coach them simply because when they were looking to work on their game, they didn't know any trainer, obviously. So then they saw somebody who looked like they had what they wanted, which was me on the internet. And they said, hey, maybe you can train me because, I mean, you're already doing the things that I want to do. So how about you help me out? Now, I didn't become their trainer, but I did make programs and products and I sold them to them. I taught them how to work on their game and they did it. That's what makes me an expert. I knew how to do it. I had done it. I had my proof. And then I was able to teach other people and help them get results. That's what put me at the expert level. So I knew it because I played. I'm an expert because I taught it. Those are two different things. So this is how, again, what I'm saying, if you're a great professional speaker or you're a great writer or you're a great cook, somebody who wants to be a great cook is going to see you and they're going to say, damn, can you teach me how to cook like that? And maybe you can. If you have good you have good analytical skills, and you're able to communicate what's in your head and explain it to somebody else, that's when you can get to that expert level. But not everybody has that. I've seen many people who are really good at doing something. They can do it, but if you ask them to teach you how they did it, they can't really explain it, because some people just do things. They just have an innate understanding of what they're doing. I'm not even saying talent. They just innately understand what they're doing, but they never thought about expressing it to another person. So they're good at communicating with themselves, but they can't communicate with other people because they just don't have that ability. I'll tell y'all a good example. One time I had called my grandmother. I was in college, matter of fact. And I don't know, was I in college? No, it might have been after college. But anyway, I wasn't wherever she was. So I called my grandmother, and I was trying to get her bread pudding recipe. If y'all know what bread pudding is, you can Google it. But people make it all different types of ways. My grandmother made this great bread pudding that I loved when I was a kid. And I think I was in college at the time. I was asking her. So I called her and said, hey, Grandma, I want that bread pudding that you used to always make. Can you tell me the recipe for how to make the bread pudding? Tell me what ingredients I need, how long, just tell me everything I need to do so I can make that bread pudding for myself. Because I love when you made it, but I'm not near where you are. I need to make it. I'm out here at college. Tell me what ingredients to buy from the store and how to cook it. I'll make my own bread pudding. And my grandmother said, well, I would love to tell you how to make it, but I don't make my bread pudding by a recipe. She was like, I do it all by eye, and I just do it by feel. I know exactly how much of each thing to put in there. I just know how to do it. I couldn't write it down and explain it to you because I don't know it on that level. So this is a good example. She could do it. She was great at making the bread pudding. I loved eating it when she made it. But when I asked her to teach me how to do it, she couldn't do it because she had an innate understanding of how to do it. She did not have a, I guess we would call it just an explicit understanding where she could talk it out and explain it to another person. Again, as I said, doing it and teaching it, two different skills. Some people have both, some people do not. So when you're deciding what to focus on, and for example, when I was trying to decide, I'll talk about myself, when I was trying to decide what to focus on in business, I knew the things that I had done, but I also thought about what do people ask me for. So if you want to find out where your expertise lies, especially if you're on the internet or if you know a lot of people or your skills are out there and people know that you're good at something, see what people ask you for. What people are asking you for is a hint to where your expertise, your area of expertise may be, because that's the thing that you do so well that other people are recognizing you for it and they want to learn it from you. So when I decided I was going to get into just putting stuff on the internet, first I just put out basketball because that's what I was already doing. I didn't know if anybody was going to pay attention, but people saw it and they started asking me, hey, how do you work on your handle? So I started making stuff about handling. And they said, what about shooting? So I made stuff for shooting. They said, what about being athletic? Because they saw I could dunk. So I started making stuff for athleticism. What about having six-pack abs? So I made something for that. So whatever they were asking me for, that's what I made something on. That's what people were asking about. So that was a hint to me where my expertise may be. Then the challenge once they asked me was, all right, can I teach this? Because just because I could do it does not mean I can teach it. Y'all understand that? How many times do I got to say it? All right. So what do you get asked about the most? What do you get asked to explain the most? Those are the topics that you can at least start with and then find out where your space is at. It may not be that, but you may find something related to it just because of it. Point number 3, the topic here today is if you cannot teach it, you do not know it. But understand that this works both ways, everything I'm talking about here today. What I mean is this: if you want to learn something really well, let's say you want to learn a topic like super deep and you want to know it better than everybody, here's the easiest way to do that. It is not to read every book, it's not to watch all the videos or take every course or go to a conference or hire a coach. All of those things could help. But the number one way to learn a topic really, really well is to go teach that topic to somebody else. Giving that a second for that, let that marinate, sit in your mind there. The number one way to learn a topic really well is to teach it to somebody else. And here's why. When you have to teach something to another person, you have to make sense of everything that is in your head, and it has to make sense when you say it to another person. Because understand, other people, they don't know what you know. All right, they're not in your head. So the way that you can make sense of things in your mind, you'll notice that when you start explicitly explaining it to another person, it may not make as much sense as you thought it did when you were only saying it in your head. For example, as an entrepreneur, when I have a staff member come on and work for me and I'm telling them a certain task that I was doing and now I want them to do it, I had to explain it to them. I explained to them exactly what they need to do, why they're doing it, and how to do it. And once I started explaining it, sometimes I realized, like, damn, this doesn't make as much sense when I'm explaining it as it does when I'm doing it myself, because I can do it myself without thinking about it or telling myself anything. I just know what to do. But when you got to explain it to another person, you have to tell them, all right, you got to do this, then this, then this, and then you have to explain why you're doing it. And then you may realize, like, damn, this doesn't make any sense what I'm doing here. I need a whole new process I thought I knew it, but I didn't really know it that well because now I'm having trouble explaining it. So I don't have trouble explaining it, but it lets me see that my process may not have been as sharp as I thought it was. So this is the way, the reason I'm saying this, if you really want to learn a subject really well or ensure that you really know it, start teaching other people. I know the topics of discipline, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative really well because I teach these. I explain it to other people every single day. What do you think I'm doing when I do these live streams or I make a YouTube video or a podcast or I write articles? What am I doing? I'm taking what's in my head and I'm explaining it to you in such a way that you understand it. This is how I get better at teaching. And when I get better at teaching, what am I doing? I'm sharpening the sword of my expertise. Now I become more and more of an expert every time I teach a subject because I'm noticing how people are receiving it. Are people understanding what I'm saying? When I do I can't see what y'all are doing right now, you listen to me, but when I give a keynote speech or a TED Talk or any kind of live presentation and I can see the people in the room, I'm reading the room and seeing how people are understanding. Are they understanding what I'm saying? Are people taking notes on what I'm saying? Are people like nodding their heads and laughing at the jokes? Then I know that they're kind of understanding what I'm saying. But if I'm getting a whole lot of blank faces or people are like, or they're not quite getting it, or are they doing like this, I'm like, all right, maybe they're not understanding what I'm saying. And that's not their fault. That's my fault. That's a failure in communication because I'm the one talking. So if they're not understanding it, either they don't speak English, which most of the time they do, if they're in the room, I'm not communicating it clearly enough that they can understand it. So if you really want to get good at knowing a subject, start teaching it to other people. All right, you will get better at it a whole lot. You'll get better a whole lot better, a whole lot faster. And one way you can do that for free is just get on a live stream or just turn the camera on your phone, turn on the selfie video, and just talk to yourself. All right, get better at explaining your subject. The more often you do that, I guarantee you, you will get so sharp at explaining your expertise and you will start to become a true expert. Then go online and go live and actually talk to your Facebook or your Instagram or your YouTube, wherever you got an audience. Even if you don't have an audience, even if you got 0 followers, do it anyway. And I guarantee you, you'll start to feel more confident in your expertise. The other side of this, excuse me, well, still on point number 3, the other side of this expertise equation, if you want to make something, if you have a person who doesn't quite understand something, making it simple for them will help you understand it more yourself. Jim Rohn once said, if it's hard for you to explain something to other people, maybe you should start by explaining it to yourself first. So when you talk to yourself about what you're saying, or you write out your ideas, or you make an outline or a plan, or write out a strategy of what you're trying to teach, you will notice the holes in your expertise. You'll notice the parts where going from this point to this point, there's a jump there, but I don't understand how you made that connection. You got to be able to explain it to yourself. And the better you get at that, the better you can do it for other people. So working both ways. If you really want to learn something really well, teach it to another person. If you want to get good at teaching something to other people, well, first of all, you got to get out there and do it. Get out there and get the experience. Get your hands dirty. Go out there 10 toes deep and learn that area of expertise. Because if you cannot teach it, then you do not know it. The best experts out there, they are always teaching. Look online. Look at the people that you follow who are experts on a subject. Are they always teaching? Are they always giving you something else? Are they always telling you something new? They always got a new little nugget. They can take any little thing that happens and they can relate it to their area of expertise. Like, look at this. Let me tell you how this relates to what I'm talking about. They might not say it in those words, but that's what they do. That's the way that they think. They train themselves to think that way so they can automatically speak that way. And the more they speak that way, the better they get at it. And the better they get at it, more people come around to them for that topic. And the more people come around, the more confident they become. Because you got to look at all these people who are trusting me to know what I'm talking about. And then they keep doing it and they keep delivering. And you can do this exact same thing. It's not about them. It's about you. You can do the same thing that they're doing just by sharpening your expertise. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to say it a whole bunch of times. If you can't teach it, you do not know it. Now, I'm going to recap these points. I'm going to tell you about these 2 publications I got sitting here in front of me and this other one over here to my right. I'm going to take every question we got in the comment section. If you got a question, go ahead and post in the comments right now. Make sure it's good. Keep it short. And then we'll see what happens after that. So first of all, these 2 books right here, you can get both of these books for free. I've already paid for them. All you do is take care of the shipping. But first, let me recap the points. Then I'll tell you about these books. Topic is, if you can't teach it, you don't know it. Number 1, expert. Person who can take a complex idea that they know really well, break it down into bite-sized pieces for somebody who knows nothing. If you cannot do this, you are not an expert. Number 2, until you have done it, you do not know something. I'll say it again. Until you have done it, you do not know something. Or you do not know what it's like to travel the world if you never traveled the world. You don't know what it's like to have a kid if you don't have any kids. If until you do it, you don't know it. Okay, you may have consumed the information. You might have watched a documentary. Maybe your man did it, your friend did it. You went to all the games. Your cousin was doing it. You read the book. That doesn't mean you know it. All right, you don't know anything until you have actually done it yourself. Your actual activity, your actual energy. When I was deciding what to focus on in business, I just looked at what people are asking me about, and usually what people ask me about: basketball, mindset, confidence, discipline, showing up every day. What were those things? Those are the things that they saw me doing. Not the things that they guessed that I might know something about. People only asking me questions, even to this day. Most of the times people ask me questions, they're asking me questions about something that they see me doing or they hear me talking about in a way that I'm talking about. Hey, I did this, I did that. That's what people are going to ask you about, what they know you actually done. If you haven't done it, you are unqualified to be telling other people how to do it or what it's like because you do not know. Point number 3. This works both ways. If you want to learn something really well, start teaching it. You want to get better at teaching something, learn it really well. How do you learn something really well? Not by reading a book, not by watching a documentary, not by subscribing to the podcast, by going out there and doing it with your actual effort in real life, out there. All right, not on the phone, out there. Go out there and do something. That's how you learn something really well. And if you want to get even better at learning it, go teach it to somebody else. Now let me tell you about these 2 books right here. This book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. It's the self-guide to self-discipline. The reason I wrote this book is for the people out there who feel like there's an old you that you need to get rid of and you want to step into the new you. You want to step into a new version of you. It's still you, but you bring yourself a new energy, a new purpose, a new passion, a new way that you're approaching life. You light that fire inside of yourself. And because you did that, even if you take the same actions as before, you will get completely different results. If you are looking for that, then you want to read this book right here. It's called The Mirror of Motivation. I've already paid for the book. All you got to do is take care of the shipping. Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. Tell me where you want me to send the book. We are shipping these books worldwide. I just told y'all yesterday, we just ordered about 250 more books that are on the way that we can ship them ourselves so we can get them out there even faster to everybody out there who needs the books. Mirrorofmotivation.com. If you're ready to step into the new you and let the old you walk away. This one right here, The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. This book is for the specific type of person who wants to play professional basketball anywhere in the world. If you want to get paid for your basketball talents and your game on that court, this is the book that you want. Even if you have been overlooked, if you've been underrated, if nobody's ever paid attention to you, you just need someone to give you an opportunity and you feel you had a talent to perform on the court at the professional level and get paid to play basketball, go to balloverseas.com. This book is already paid for. It's 237 pages. Tell me where to ship the book. You take care of the shipping. We will ship this book anywhere in the world that you want it. Half the books that we ship out go international. Somebody asked me the other day, is this book even good for somebody who's not from the United States? Yes. We ship more of these books to overseas than even this one right here. We ship a lot of these books. I would say about 30% of the books that we send out of this are going somewhere: Canada, Germany, Spain. We send a couple books to Spain, Australia, all over the world. And trust me, we pay a lot for shipping for those books. More than you're going to pay for shipping, we pay to ship these overseas. Trust me. So balloverseas.com, you want to play overseas. Mirrormotivation.com, you want to step into the new you. Now, let me see if we got any questions in the comment section. You got a question, go ahead and post it. Make sure it's a good question. I will answer it. Hope everybody's had a great week so far. He got game. What's going on? Oh, that's Jay from Houston. New York is in the house. He got game says, I would say you're an expert in basketball in general. You taught me everything about the game to aspiring hoopers, coaches, and trainers. That's what's up. Well, I appreciate that comment. I know the game. That's why I was able to teach it. And because I work on my game. I do these lives every day is for y'all, but it also helps me. It helps me get better at explaining things. Because if I don't explain it clearly or I don't feel like the message made sense when I say it, then I know I got to step my skill up. Money says, Phil Jackson, mediocre player but proficient coach. Well, he was better than mediocre. I mean, he was a starter on a championship team. I wouldn't say that's mediocre. But I get what you're saying. I mean, he wasn't a superstar player, but he was a better coach. I get what you're saying. You got the right idea. He got game says, you're right about when I began coaching and training players. When I was getting certified, I practiced teaching and explaining it to work at it before it became official for me. Exactly. And that's more important than the certification. I mean, the certification will make you, quote unquote, official and then get you in the room, but it's your ability to actually help people get results that is what gets you paid. All right. Certifications don't get you paid. It's your ability to help people get results that get you paid. And you probably already know that. It took my expertise as a player to let them know I was in their shoes, so I know what situations are like from their standpoint. Exactly. So you can use your experience. Experience is credibility. That's what experience is. I didn't say that in here, but since you said that, that's a good point. When you have experience in something, that gives you credibility because you can say, yo, I did this, so I know what I'm talking about. Just because somebody has credibility, though, doesn't mean they're good at teaching. There's some people who have done stuff, but they can't explain it because they don't have the communication skills. But it is a credibility piece when you can tell people that you've actually done something. I agree, though, just because you are a great player doesn't mean you can't teach the game. LeBron even said he wouldn't coach Jordan rather than not coach either. Yeah, me either. So I wouldn't coach either. So you're absolutely right. Oops, I pushed the wave button by accident. Question is it better to specialize or generalize? Well, both. Why not do both? You choose your area where you're going to specialize, but then you can know a lot of stuff in that general area. So, for example, if you want to specialize in basketball, you can know a lot about basketball. You can know playing, training, coaching, broadcasting, analysis, YouTubing, podcasting. So you could be a generalist in a specialized area. But it really depends on where you're trying to go with your life. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to that question. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Ming to Million says, you can't teach it. Should you sell it? Well, what you going to sell? What are you selling? Let me see. If I couldn't teach basketball, what am I going to sell people? I don't have nothing to sell. What am I selling? Maybe I could sell them like a highlight tape if I'm like Michael Jordan. I mean, back in the day, nowadays you can't sell a highlight tape. Now you got to put it on YouTube for free. But back in the day, for those of y'all old enough, there used to be VHS tapes that you would buy the Michael Jordan VHS tape and you would watch it at home because there was no internet, there was no YouTube. Well, internet technically did exist, but everybody didn't have it. And there was no YouTube, so you get the tape. But nowadays, what am I going to sell? If I'm a basketball player and I can do it, I can play good, but I can't teach it, what am I selling? I could sell my likeness. I could sell advertising. I could sell T-shirts, things like that. But in the area of basketball, what exactly do I have to offer? If I can't teach you anything, what are you paying for? Maybe an experience, like you want to come hang with me and let me autograph your T-shirt. All right, I could sell that, but that's not basketball. So I don't know what I would sell if I couldn't teach it. Just Don said he ordered the Work on Your Game book today. That's what's up. So you're going to be getting this hardcover book to your doorstep very soon. So shout out to everybody who ordered those Work on Your Game books. All right, I'm going to tell you about these books one more time. Both of these books, again, are already paid for. All you got to do is take care of shipping. MirrorofMotivation.com. This is a self-guide to self-discipline. You want to get rid of the old you, step into the new you ASAP, and get different results in your life because you changed your energy. BallOverseas.com is an overseas basketball blueprint for people who want to play professional basketball overseas, even if you've been overlooked, underrated, never had anybody pay attention to your game, but you think you got the talent to play. BallOverseas.com for this book right here. Pierre says, what about doing both while playing basketball? How would you specialize and generalize a skill in basketball? I don't know what you mean doing both. If you play basketball, that's what you do. You play basketball. Play basketball. So there's no doing both. If you play, you play. So I don't know what the other thing is that you're referring to when you say both. He got game, so I need that Work on Your Game book for sure. Go to workonyourgamebook.com. That's where you get it. Just the name of the book and then put the word book at the end. Workonyourgamebook.com. Not only do you get the book, but I got a bunch of bonuses that you're going to get immediate access to. Since this is a hardcover book, when you order the book, of course, we got to send it to you in the mail. So while you're waiting for the book to come, I'm going to give you the bonuses that you can access right now. So you're going to get something right now, and you got the book on the way. And that's workonyourgamebook.com. It's a 250-page book. I took all my best material from the whole Work on Your Game philosophy, and I condensed it down to 250 pages. If I put everything, this book would be 2,000 pages, but I made it 250 pages just to give you the best stuff. Workonyourgamebook.com. So I'm going to tell you about these one more time and see if we got any more questions. All right, here it is. Pierre says, I was thinking about how some players like Kyle Korver specialize in shooting while LeBron does everything. Well, LeBron is an anomaly. I don't think we should use LeBron as an example. LeBron is a little bit different from the average basketball player. I've never seen more than one LeBron. I've seen a bunch of Kyle Korvers. I only seen one LeBron. All right, Kyle Korver, a guy who's an excellent shooter, and you got to make sure you don't give him an open shot. I've known a lot of players who fit that description. LeBron, I've never seen a LeBron before LeBron, and I doubt we will see in our lifetimes. We're not going to see another LeBron after LeBron. All right, after LeBron's gone, by the time all of us are dead, the LeBron we got now will be the only LeBron any of us have ever seen. All right, maybe the next LeBron might come around, but all of us are going to be dead before that person comes. So LeBron is not a good example. Which makes it a challenge sometimes when you have like famous people who are publicly notable, that sometimes they are just anomalies from everybody else, and that's one of the reasons that they're famous. but people think that their example is one to follow, but it's often is not. But you would know that if you didn't have somebody like me explaining it, maybe. He Got Game says the Work on Your Game book tells your story too. Right, yes. So basically I'm giving you my whole philosophy through explaining to you how I came about that philosophy. So my philosophies on confidence came from something I learned in basketball, or discipline might have came from something I learned from trying to get on a high school team. Or when I talk about mentorship, I tell you about how I became an entrepreneur. So I'm telling you the story in order to make the point. And then I tell you how to apply the point. We call it point story application or story point application. So yes, of course I tell my story in the book. So another question. Anybody else got a question? Go ahead and post it. I'll take like 2 more questions. Does it mean you have no balls if you're not a CEO, entrepreneur, or supervisor manager? Who the hell ever told you that? I can't even answer that question. Where'd you even get that? Where'd you even get that information to even be asking that? Ask me a better question. So I'm gonna tell you about these books one more time. And if there's no more questions by the time I get done telling you about these, then we'll wrap it up. MirrorMotivation.com, self-guide, self-discipline, step out of the old you, step into the new you. The book is free, it's already paid for. All you do is take care of the shipping. MirrorOfMotivation.com. BallOverseas.com is anybody who wants to play professional basketball overseas, male or female. Doesn't matter where you're from, but if you want to go and play pro basketball, this is the book that you need. This is the guidebook. You know how Christians read the Bible and Muslims read the Quran? All right, pro basketball players read the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. That's what it is. So everybody, I do these lives every single day, 5:15 p.m. Eastern, every day. So even on the weekend. So tomorrow I will be doing a live. We know Monday is a holiday. I'll probably be doing a live anyway because things are still pretty much shut down everywhere. So they opening back up. Florida, we started to open up slowly, but I'm doing these lives every day, 5:15 p.m. Eastern. So if you're not following me, follow me. Turn on your notifications or put a calendar alert in your phone, whatever you got to do. 5:15 p.m. Eastern every day. You get 24 hours to watch the replay. My Facebook page is Facebook.com/Work on Your Game. I'm live on Facebook right now too. You don't see it. I'm live on both. So Facebook.com/Work on Your Game. You can watch these forever. They don't disappear after 24 hours, but on IG, I know these go away. So everybody have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Work on your game. We out of here.